Hey, I'm Chase, and this is All Things Around. Today, we're looking at the Bliger AirKing. So I picked up this Bliger AirKing on eBay about 2.5 months ago. Well, with all the stuff shutting down in China, I never thought it would arrive. I thought it was lost in the mail. In fact, the tracking number they gave me wasn't even working. Well, it finally came in the mail, and this is the review. It's going to be a shorter review, then I'm going to list it right on eBay. Link in the description below. So let's just flip the camera around and dive right into the review. And here it is, the Bliger AirKing without the crown, as I explained, sterile dial. Now, if you order this watch, I ordered this off of eBay. I know you can get it on AliExpress. If you order this watch, don't expect to get a case. It came just like this. Now, I did take 2 links off of this bracelet to get to fit on my wrist. But other than that, that's basically all you get. Now, this is almost exactly like my To Explorer in its dimensions. Now this is 40 millimeters in diameter. It is 14 millimeters thick, so it is a bit tall for the wrist with 20 millimeter lugs, tapering down to 15, up at 16 on this glide lock style clasp. Now you can see that everything on here is a brushed finish. Doesn't really match the case. The case is high polished all the way around, just like the AirKing. However, it's like they use the bracelet from basically everything else that Parnis, that Bliger, that all these other Chinese homage watch companies use, which is this oyster style brushed bracelet. Not a bad bracelet. Again, uses a glide lock style clasp, which is good that it uses a glide lock style clasp, because if you've been a fan of my channel for any period of time, you know that I do not like any type of bracelet that's not glide lock, because I don't like the fact that you can't micro adjust it. It is a proper milled clasp, so at least it's a little high quality there. It does have solid inlink, sterile case back, still have the sticker on that case back. Screw down crown, 30 meters of water resistance on this watch, so don't take it swimming with you. Now let's look at this dial. The dial is just like the AirKing, very recognizable, even with that green lollipop second hand, Mercedes hands, and the lume on this is green. It doesn't really give a whole lot of information on this watch. In fact, I have no idea what the movement is inside of this watch. I looked on AliExpress, I looked at a bunch of different websites, and all it says is automatic winding movement. So that's basically it. It does look like it has at least a beat rate of 21,600 beats, because it doesn't seem super smooth like 28,800 beats, but it does have a smoother sweep, but not as smooth as I would like to see. Now this does have a sapphire crystal, which is nice, but in the light it doesn't look like there's any air coating. You see the reflection of the white light in the background, and it does pop up a little bit off of that polished bezel, so it does give it a little bit of height. Have no idea what the thickness is of this, but overall I think this watch is far too thick for what it offers. 14 millimeters to me just sits a little high on the wrist. Now let's get into the functioning of this curious movement inside. Again, like I said, it does have a screw down crown. Unscrew it, sort of pops, and it does have hand winding. You can hear it. Pop it to the first position. Oh wait, there is no date, but you can hear it. It is popping over, so it does have that ghost date. Not a big fan. One of the things I really like about the To is the fact that they use a proper movement for a no-date watch. Pop it out again. Does offer hacking, and the movement is relatively smooth in its function. Pop it back in, screw it down, and let's move on. Now the printing on the dial is not too terrible. It's actually pretty clean and crisp. However, like anything at this price point, it is going to have some imperfections when you look closely. Now, one of the things that I really do like about this watch is that green hand popping along that black dial. It's nice that they did have that feature. It's nice that it does have that contrast of color. But again, this is mimicking almost exactly the Rolex AirKing. But this, at its price point, I think was $70, $75 on eBay. Now, it did take about 2 months for this thing to get to my house. That is a little extreme. I know a lot of people, because of the global pandemic, are saying that it's taken a lot more time. I have gotten watches in as quickly as 2 weeks, but this just took forever. Now, let's pop this on the wrist. And here's the watch on my 7¼ inch wrist. You see that it actually fits relatively nicely. Cannot complain about that glide lock clasp. Now, normally I would wear these watches for a good solid week before I review it, because I want to get a good idea, a good understanding of exactly what it feels like. Well, I can tell you that it feels just like my Explorer. So I saved the wear and tear, because I'm just going to end up putting this on my eBay page anyway to sell, because I don't need another Rolex Homage. But it does wear just like the to sell. It does have the same oyster style bracelet. It does have the same style of glide lock clasp. It does have some harsh brushing on that bracelet, but the high polished finish isn't too bad. It does sit a little high on the wrist, but overall, it's extremely comfortable. Now, why would someone wear a watch like this? Well, it does look pretty damn good on the wrist, as you'd expect. Like I've said in the past about other Homage watches, I think they did a pretty good job on this. I think they did a good job on the applied indices, on the printing on the dial. I think that green lollipop secondhand just pops, and you get that style without the price. Again, I think this was $70, $75. You can find it on eBay, AliExpress. This did take, again, 2 months to get to my house, but overall, I think it looks great. It wears great. I like the fact that it does have a smaller crown. Unlike the Tissell, it matches the Rolex a little bit better. Basically, like I said in the beginning, you are getting a AirKing without the crown. Now, it does not have the same quality control, but you wouldn't expect that from a watch that's $70. But 316L stainless steel, high polished case, oyster bracelet, glide lock style clasp with a sapphire crystal, automatic movement, hacking, and hand winding. It's hard to beat $70, $75. All in all, it's not a bad watch. It's just not my style of watch. I'm glad to see that it did have a glide lock style clasp. Everybody knows that is the one thing that I really hate, is just a cheap butterfly clasp. Anyway, not a bad looking watch. The quality isn't the best, but it's definitely not the worst. You can do a lot worse for $70. Now, if you like videos like this, hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a comment on the content you guys would like to see on this channel. I have so much stuff coming up in the future, so hit that notification bell so you guys can be notified when I drop my next video. Until next time.